What is up, everybody? Welcome to a Slice of Doom. It is I, Scagz, and I am here with my co-host, Jimbo the Kid from the Last Slice podcast. If you've been listening to the last couple episodes of Two Doom Men, I mentioned a couple times that we were working on a new little side project, side segment kind of, where we're going to be flipping the script on what we normally talk about in both shows. So I went over to the Last Slice podcast with Jimbo, and I talked a little politics with him right before we recorded this. And Jimbo's coming over here with me to talk about like societal issues, culture, whatever dumb shit we want to talk about. Honestly, we'll try and stray away from politics maybe, because that's me and Chris. That's all we talk about. So I mean, I had an idea what we're going to talk about today, but this was actually something that we were going to do a doomed review of for a while ago. But then COVID happened and I got busy. We weren't able to do it. But I wanted to talk about the Netflix movie Don't Look Up. You obviously, I assume, watched it. Jimbo,
yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So I thought it was so let's put it this way, right? This will be kind of spoiler. It's going to kind of have spoilers a little bit, but I don't want to review the movie straight up as if we would if it was a doomed review. I kind of want to talk about it maybe more theoretically, more ideologically, and talk about what Leonardo Dicaprio was trying to do with the movie. So spoiler warning, I guess, right? If you haven't watched the movie, you should. I thought it was pretty good. Thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
It reminded me kind of South Park, where it just kind of pokes fun at everybody.
Yeah.
But there was a political message behind it. Long story short, the moral of the movie is there is a comet that is discovered by astrophysicists, and they chart that the comet is on a direct collision course with Earth. And they go on this whole campaign in order to tell everybody that, hey, there's a comet coming. It's going to hit the Earth and kill everybody. And it is a direct, basically, what's the word I guess you could say of it? Like satire or parody? Oh, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you.
It's a satirical comedy.
Satirical.
Like it's like a Succession. I would say like a Succession type of comedy where it's like you're watching it, you're not supposed to laugh, but you're laughing because it's
Right.
like it's crazy, you know?
Yeah. So that's basically the point of the movie. There's a comet coming. It's clear as day, and no one wants to listen. It pokes fun at like your MAGA people. The president at the time in the movie is like a stand-in for Trump, I guess you could say. Yeah. It also pokes fun at your left-wing people who are like your elite liberals who want to like profit off the situation. So I have here what I really want to talk about is the message behind the movie, especially what Leonardo DiCaprio was trying to get at. He was trying to draw an analogy of modern day culture and our ability to hear and listen to scientific truth. There are some hard truths that these characters need to face, much like we do as a species on Earth. And the analogy or the comparison he's trying to draw to is climate change with the movie, right? And I guess you could say like the comet is a stand-in for climate change, and nobody wants to believe it, which I mean, a lot of people in the world in real life believe about climate change, but there's a lot of people who don't. So he's trying to draw that comparison, trying to maybe teach people a lesson with the movie. Like, look, there's this thing coming. It's going to destroy you. So my question to you,
Yes.
however, this is a movie. This is not real life. If a comet was discovered by astrophysicists in real life out in Hawaii or wherever, and they, with 100% certainty, told us, here's the data, here is a comet, here's the picture, it's coming to Earth, it's going to hit the Earth and kill everybody, would human society believe it, or would they behave in a way similar to they did in the movie? What do you think?
Oh, that's a good question. My faith in humanity would say yes, but during the current climate of everything that's going on, I am going to say no. There's going to be a lot of questions, a lot of people saying, "Oh, we don't believe you." Just like in the movie, the comet would have to be in plain sight for you to believe it. You know what I mean? And that's what they were trying to get at is that, it's too late. Like it's already here. So it's just brace for impact type of thing. But I would hope that people would work with those physicists to figure out address the issue and then also come up with a solution. Like we'll send Ben Affleck up again. Maybe maybe we'll send him back up to fix the issues, and Liv Tyler, join him too. But but I want to send Ben Affleck and just shoot him up with Jennifer Lopez for good. Don't come back,
right,
type of thing. Just orbit space with the Tesla car. But maybe
we'll do it with Jeff Bezos's penis capsule.
Yeah,
we'll send him up there too. We'll just get rid of while we're at it, while we're stopping the comet, we'll send a couple people we want to get rid of.
Yeah, we'll just send all of them, the billionaires. Oh, we're gonna fight against the comet. Just shoot yourself off. Don't come back.
Like that.
You do a country proud. But I would hope that we would listen to them. What do you think? Do you think we would believe him or?
So that's the brilliance of the movie, right? Is it makes you think, right? At least when I watch movies like this, I get the point behind it. But at the end of the day, like I said, Leonardo Dicaprio is trying to draw an analogy to climate change, right? And if climate change is not as cut and dry as a rock hurtling through space that's going to physically impact the Earth, right? Is climate change real? Yeah, I think so, right? But is it visible? Is it 100% certain, or are we just going on the whims of models, forecasts, projections of averages and whatnot? Compared to a rock, right? Like I said before, it's not as cut and dry. I could see the rock at the end of the day. I can't really see if climate change is happening. So my personal opinion is that if this really happened in real life, I am a bit of an astronomer and like space nerd and whatnot, but I do feel like if this happened in real life, and they said that a comet was coming to Earth and was going to hit 100% certainty, I feel like most people would believe it, right? Because most people, right? There's no such thing as 100% certainty. There's I love them to death, but there's your flat earthers out there. There's your people that don't believe in dinosaurs. If you want to hear from them, you could listen to Two Doom Men podcast.
Yeah,
we've had them on a couple of times. But so you'll never get 100% certainty or belief in anything. It's like antithetical to like human.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but it would be similar to Jonah Hill's character, where he needs 100% answer, and the scientists don't work with 100%, because remember they said it's a 98% chance, and he goes, "But is it 100 though?"
Right. Yeah. His character was a grifter though too. Like playing the role. He was like on social media. And all that stuff, kind of he at the same time, that's why his character reminded me of. But I just think the analogy doesn't work, right? Because again, a rock that could be photographed, it could be seen, and it is a physical, tangible thing. Like if I take an egg, right, and I'm holding an egg, and I take a rock and I throw the two at each other, or I smash the two together, they hit each other and they are destroyed with 100% certainty. So let's just scale that up to the size of the planet and a comet, and everybody understands. I would, well, not everybody. Again, no such thing as absolutes, but I would say that 99% of the human species understands when one physical object crashes into another, damage occurs or calamity occurs, right? As opposed to climate change, which is somewhat debatable, not as like physically provable as I guess you could say as two physical objects colliding.
A tangible thing. Tangible,
right? It's more tangible. It's more tangible. So I do think that people would, without a doubt, believe that there is an asteroid coming. It's going to hit the Earth. It is going to kill everybody. And would we mobilize to like do something about it effectively or efficiently? I have no idea. Right, because that would probably come up to governments, and they're awful at getting anything done, as you can see with the pandemic. But I do think it is a different scenario, and in real life, people would probably believe it. Most people, I'd say 98 to 99% of people would believe it. Mm-hmm. A slim minority of people that would not.
Yeah, I believe that people would have to come to the realities, just like the movie said. I mean, at some point. You have to look through, because I'm huge on history. You have to look back on history, and through time, through the Earth's history, you've had asteroids hit. You had, climate change. You had the ice age. You had, all this stuff that's happened. That these things do happen. So now, is climate change? Are we speeding up the climate?
Right.
Yeah, most in part, yes, I do agree with that. However, it's the nature of Earth. That's the evolution that it goes through, is that it's not going to stay the same for a long period of time.
Right.
That's just a fact. That's the hard truth, you know. And for an asteroid or a comet, like these things happen. If you
Right.
look at the moon has dents inside of it because it protected Earth with asteroids
Yeah,
or
you could literally look
comets
up at the moon and see craters from comets and asteroids and whatnot, meteorites
colliding.
hitting it. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's those things are possible. Now, to believe that it doesn't, that's crazy. You know, you know, shoot yourself off of Ben Affleck, but at the same time, you know, at the same time, you know, it's a tough decision. Like, whether are you going to believe it, or what do you? First of all, what are we going to do about it? The regular Joe Schmo.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean?
What are we gonna
Like,
do? Like point our guns up in the air and shoot at it as it comes down? Right. Like there's not much we can do.
yeah. So it's like, yeah, for climate change, what can we do?
Right.
You know, and here's and I'll let you finish, and then
Yeah.
I got a point because I'm gonna go off on the
What
lead
it's all
character.
about, bro.
You know, um, like I said, with what are we gonna do? Like, how can we stop climate change? Instead of pointing to the common person or the common individual carbon print, why are you not going after the CEOs, the companies that are polluting, going after China? Because everything's directed towards the United States.
Right.
People in the United States are aware. Is the whole world aware? You
Right.
understand? And because it's not just the United States, we have China, we have Russia. All these countries are polluting, not just the United States. So why are you not holding those people, those corporations accountable? You don't, because Leonardo DiCaprio, love his work, great actor. Guy's
Right.
carbon footprint is 10 times more than what we use.
Right.
Okay, because we are just a common man. We can't afford to go on $1 million yachts, private planes that he's probably traveling every other day on. You know, doing whatever he does, own multiple homes. Because let's be real, guy's probably got multiple vacation homes. So in the sense is like, I understand you're trying to address the situation and bring it to light, but you would still, if a corporation was like, "Hey, Leo, can you come and talk to our event for this amount of money?" He would go and talk.
Yeah.
But these are the same people behind closed doors that are like, "Yeah, let's fucking frack, let's frack," you know?
Yeah. They're not made up of any real answers either. You know, in my opinion, it's all nefarious. It's not on. It's not by accident that they've chosen a catastrophe or like a planet-changing event. That's somewhat debatable, right? That is not as black and white as an asteroid coming to justify passing laws, changing societal norms, pushing industries in certain directions. Because you're right, at the end of the day, right? They'll point at me and you as the problem. You consume too much meat. You produce too much carbon emissions. What? I'm one person, right? I live in a rural area. I have a fucking compost pile. I try and live as sustainably as possible, even though I consider myself to be like libertarian, somewhat conservative now. You know, like I don't like pollution. Most human beings don't like pollution. But the little tiny changes I can make have absolutely no fucking effect whatsoever on the climate. But the people who are pushing all these changes and restrictions and rules and everything, they're the people who are doing the polluting, right? It's the DiCaprios on their yachts. It's the Bezos. It's the United States federal government. It's the Chinese Communist Party. They're the ones that are polluting on the exponential level. It's not me or you on an individual level. So yeah, it doesn't make sense. It's in my opinion, it's nefarious. They've chosen something that is not black and white like a comet, and they're just using it to push agendas that ultimately just go in the direction they want. Maybe consolidate more power for government, right? Because this would consolidate more power for government, right? If we have this existential threat that only humanity as like a unified thing can face, who's going to pull that off? The government, I guess, right? They'll have to do it. So of course it just goes in their direction. So it's nefarious in my opinion. Does it mean climate change don't exist? No, it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. Maybe it does exist. I don't know. I ain't a climate scientist, but that doesn't mean we have to become communists because of climate change. It doesn't mean you have to raise my taxes, you know?
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. It's just that you're going out there promoting this narrative and shaming people into thinking that, oh man, I am a problem, because now that's what they're doing. And common people, they're going to get solar panels, which is all good. It's all progressive. I'm all for it. If it's going to better the environment, hey, why not? But you get these people in these COVID's taught this very, very well. You get people paranoid.
Yeah.
And they start to, everything has to be green. Everything has to be, nature and stuff like that. But meanwhile, the people who are promoting this type of narrative is living a whole different lifestyle than you, that they're, like I said, their carbon footprint is 10 times what me and you do. So how are you getting away with that? Because I think that, why do you think they're getting away? How do you think that he has branded himself as the crusader on climate change, and that he branded himself that so that he can go forth and go and speak at functions for millions of dollars? Do you think that's
Leonardo DiCaprio?
Yeah.
Maybe, right? Am I going to sit here and say Leonardo DiCaprio is some arch evil villain conspiracy theorist who wants to completely control the world? I don't know. I don't think so, right? He probably is just a guy with a lot of money, and he probably wants to do what he believes is the right thing. And he's been sold a bag of lies by politicians, scientists that have interests in government, right? Because government and science are inextricably linked now. And he feels like, look, I have this platform. I'm a rich guy. I could use my platform for some sort of good. But then at the same time, like you're saying, like he's on the yacht, he takes the private plane. He doesn't practice what he preaches, right? So that pushes me back the other way to be that he's somewhat nefarious. There's no way for me to answer the question. I can never know, because I'm not Leonardo DiCaprio myself. Only he can answer that question, I guess you could say, himself. But I think everybody should. The moral of the story is, right, you have to look at the whole picture. Is climate change real? Maybe. But why are the people trying to sell me on it not doing anything about it in their own personal life? Just like with COVID, right? I don't want to go too much of a tangent on COVID, but all the people telling you to mask up are consistently photographed not wearing masks in parties, violating their own rules. Why is that, right? Why is that? That is all you have to do. You have to have a critical thought, analyze things. Like we were saying on the other side, you got to do your own research. That's my best answer.
Yeah, and I'm a firm believer in, just like science. I took a biology course in college, and the professor started off the actual first day of class saying, question everything.
Right.
Question everything. It's okay to question everything. Come formulate a theory or an idea, and come and present it with your evidence and have a discussion about it. And it's the same thing in the political spectrum or anything in life. That's how it should be. Don't literally believe every one thing. Just always keep an open mind and be like, this seems off. Like this doesn't, and that's what I'm doing with Leonardo. I'm not saying that he's a bad person. I'm not saying that he's a money grabber or a grifter. What I'm saying is that you can't preach something and not practice it.
Yeah, I agree.
That's what I'm saying. Like that. I think that's like a universal thing. That should be a universal thing.
Yeah, I practice stuff that would be beneficial to there not being climate change, but I don't go around and preach that there's going to be climate change, right? Like I said, I do a compost pile. I have chickens. I make sure that I don't let my car just idle endlessly while I'm waiting in a parking lot, because I'm pretty cognizant of the fact that I'm just polluting for no reason. As I've gotten older, I've been like really big on not throwing shit out the window, like paper or a cup or whatever, like don't litter, shit like that. But I don't go around and be like, oh, we got to raise everyone's taxes and vote in communists and the world's going to end. I don't fucking know. I just do little tiny things that I think you shouldn't do. Or, like I don't do things that I don't think should be done. Let's put it that way. I think maybe Leonardo's a grifter, dude. The more I think about it, maybe, right? Like it's the thing.
There's something there.
It's part of Hollywood. It's part of that's just the culture over there. Does he really even believe it? Maybe not, right? But he has to in order, because that's just the world that he's in. I've even heard some celebrities, comedians, Rogan talk about it, even how like a lot of them don't even believe what they say, but they have to, because if you don't get the roles, you don't get the gigs, you're outcast from like the clique, you know what I mean? So they just say the shit, and then they have their own private opinion, and they have their their public opinion and their private opinion, like Hillary Clinton said.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I was trying to say, is that he's probably branded himself to now where he gets these speaking engagements from these high-end corporations to come speak at an event, promoting about, making the planet green and, let's save the environment. So now he's also getting compensated for going out and doing these talks and these speeches. And now it's like he can't really, reverse any of it. He has to keep going because that's what he is now. He's the beacon of hope. It's the same thing like Al Gore. Al Gore's the first person that mentioned, one of the first pivotal figures to come out and talk about climate change. I haven't heard from him in a while about any of this. Maybe he does still do talks and stuff
briefly, but he's not like the icon of the.
But these are the same people
anymore.
But these are the same people that, like I said, that they don't live in our reality. We don't fly on private planes. We don't go on yachts. We don't own multiple homes, like massive homes, not just like, if you have 2-3 homes, okay. But like, we're talking about massive mansions that they're living in, they're traveling constantly. So it's like their carbon footprint is way more than ours. And you're preaching to us and okay. Are we aware? Yes. But like I said, what can we do about it? We are only just a small, finite,
Even if we do try and do something about it, it's no guarantee. There's no such thing as 100% certainty. Like I said before, that anything that we do will reverse it, right? Or change anything, right? Anybody who fucking wants to tell you it's 100% certainty of this, 100% certainty of that is full of shit. There's no such fucking thing as 100% certainty of anything. The universe is not created upon 100% certainty, right? Down to like the molecular fucking structure of the universe. There's things called black holes, which can warp and distort time and existence and reality. That is not fucking 100% certainty of anything. Who knows what happens in them, right? So there's no such thing. That's a load of shit.
I am a huge Interstellar fan. That's one of my favorite movies. Right. I would hope that, you don't turn into a spaghetti. You drop down like Matthew McConaughey and you're in the Tesseract and you're crying for love. But I wanted to point out what I thought was pretty funny about that movie, which does a great job sending out that message. It does a great job doing that in a comedic style fashion, hysterical comedy. But I wanted to point out the head of when they discover the comet, they go to the head of NASA, and as they're talking to the head of NASA, he turns around. He was like, she's like an anesthesiologist. I thought that was hysterical because I was like, oh, that's like far out there. Like, that's pretty fucking funny. Imagine if it's true. Then you get the situation with all these doctors signing a petition for Joe Rogan.
Right. I was going to go there too if you didn't, but
yeah. And the people are not even doctors.
Right.
They're not doctors, and some of them are veterinarians. So it's like, you know what? This movie is onto something. It's pretty funny.
Right. It is funny. You could draw that. I mean, those people who denounced Joe Rogan, right? Are they the director of NASA? No. But the media made it seem as if they were some highly held in regard or esteemed doctors or scientists that are like critical to the whole COVID operation. But then you go in and look at it, and they're dentists. Some of them haven't even finished college yet. Some of them are not actively practicing any sort of medicine whatsoever. Is that all of them? No, but I think it was a large majority of them, right?
Yeah.
Never take something at the first level, right? Like, you always want to, at minimum, every single person's duty should be to scratch past the first surface, right? And look into what's going on. Never, ever believe anything. Never even believe anything coming from me or from one of the shows that are critical, right? Because I could be wrong. I'll never try and like willfully deceive somebody, but I could just be completely wrong. I have my own biases or whatnot. So for someone to read that story about Rogan and the doctors, if anything's too good to be true, I don't believe it ever, right? So as soon as I saw that, I'm like, the fuck out of here. That's bullshit. Just like with the story about the gunshot victims overdosing on ivermectin.
And you
Oklahoma.
That's the best.
There's no such thing as stuff that just is that convenient. It doesn't exist. It doesn't happen. And if it does, it's bullshit. And it's meant to influence you to change your mind, etc.
Yeah. No, that was the best was like you called. when I remember you were like, "Hey, listen, dude, I called. I literally was just like a reporter. I called and I was trying to find information. And the fact that you did that, man, I commend you because it's like, yeah, like I said, question everything.
Right.
Don't see things and be like, oh yeah, I'm 100% sold on this idea, or I'm 100% sold that this. I did that to It's funny that you mentioned that. I did this just literally before I was watching the head of the Fed explain why the interest rates had to increase, and he was saying everything's how the government does everything's good. He was going through, everything looks great. Jobs went from unemployment went from 5 to 3%, whatever the case, whatever the numbers are. And I'm just like, yeah, this guy's full of shit. There's something here. There's something here because he could be completely wrong. And then in 3 months,
Right.
we're like, yeah, it's the Great Depression all over again. God forbid. But I'm just saying, you can't. You gotta look at it and be like, yeah, I don't know, bro. I don't know. There's something off here.
Yeah, he is completely wrong, and he's been completely wrong, and they've been completely wrong, and before that they were completely wrong, and they just keep trying to sell you a bag of shit.
Yeah.
For forever, and then the people like us who are out here trying to call it out. A lot of people want to look at you like you got three heads. Like they're like you're crazy or whatnot. That's why I never ever look down upon someone who's like a flat earther or doesn't believe in dinosaurs or whatever thing you might want to believe in. As long as you're a nice person, I don't care because
Yep.
it never ends then, right? Like if you look down upon someone, then someone's gonna look down upon you, even if
Yeah.
you don't hold as crazy of thoughts as other people do.
Yeah, I try to look at it as we need those people.
Yeah, right. Yes.
We if everybody thought of like how boring would life be?
Yeah.
Right? Like how boring would society be?
Yes.
We wouldn't have different things. We wouldn't have technology. We wouldn't have Broadway plays. We wouldn't have artists. We wouldn't have music. Like everybody thinks differently, have different opinions, and like if we all thought the same, like that would be
That's
fucking
boring
crazy.
as fuck. Right. It'd be
Yeah, I wouldn't want to live in that world.
I think a lot of people don't realize that life, existence, the universe, human society, it's not ones and zeros, right? It's not as much as some people actually do want to think or claim that we're living in a simulation, but we're not. There's so much random shit that happens all the time. There's no such thing as 100% of anything. Like there's no such thing as the Constitution. That's just an idea, right? The Constitution is violated all the time. There is no lightning bolt that strikes down and destroys the person who does it. It's just that's life. And anything could be manipulated, changed, interpreted a different way. That's just life, right? So to believe in anything as 100% certainty is completely fucking falsehood.
Yeah, it's nuts to think that. Yeah, it's that's why I always respect everybody equally.
Right.
Right. And I'm a huge fan of studying the history of this country because you had these men who were able to sit in a room and discuss issues about starting a brand new government and grabbing different ideas, but they sat there and they had these conversations with each other. They wrote articles and articles, debates, discussions. Like they just
lengthy
debate, lengthy, whatever was coming into their minds, they put down on paper, and then they would exchange it before Congress with each other, and that's had debates. We don't do that anymore, especially in Congress. You look at like how many people are not in those seats.
Right.
Like how many people show up to work.
Yeah,
they'll
right.
They say like, oh, I traveled over here to do an appearance, in Oklahoma for whatever. But why are you not there voting? Why are you not there debating the other side? That's what they did back in the day. We're not doing that no more. We're not having the open discussions, like you said in the episode we did for this show in
for the last slice
about Dan Crenshaw, this defeatist mentality, like, it is what it is. No, how about you
do something,
be on the offensive and bring forth your ideas to the opposing side and come to a solid mutual agreement that works for both. Because at the end of the day, that's what society is finding that middle ground, or trying to find that middle ground for each other to make both sides happy, which will never be happy, but it's the pursuit of being happy, pursuit of happiness. Thomas Jefferson, my boy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a unique thing that was written into our founding documents, right? The pursuit of happiness. But then again, at the end of the day, like I said earlier, founding documents, laws, etc., don't mean shit, right? They're just ideas put on paper, and an idea only has as much power as people who believe in it. You know, what the founding fathers did, yeah, was brilliant, right? They had like long, lengthy debate over like how society should be formed and structured and whatnot. You know, and they went there like in good faith to figure it out. But at the same time, nowadays, the same government or the legacy government that carried over from them wants to label you as a domestic terrorist if you have any sort of critical thoughts, just like the founding fathers did about overthrowing government and structuring society in a different way. So, do I have the answer, dude? I don't know, but it is interesting to see how things have just completely gone mad, you know, to the point where we can't now really say for certain if everybody would believe in an asteroid coming to hit the Earth or not, right?
Yeah.
Or say how, you know, it would be handled. Where we have no confidence. Let's just say I don't have any confidence in the system. I would believe that an asteroid's coming, but I'd have no confidence in other people 100% believing. And again, there's no 100%, or like society being able to muster together a defense or an attempt to do something about it, even if it was a 99% consensus about amongst everybody.
Yeah, I have one final touch, one question
go
for
for
you. If it were that a comet was to hit Earth, right? Let's say this movie's real, right? This is a real case. The comet's coming. How would you go about eliminating that comet? Let's hear some ideas to try to.
So what would I do to like, stop the comet from hitting the Earth?
Yeah, like what idea would you come up with? Would you go the route of Ben Affleck? You send up a nuke and try to get it off track, or
something along those lines, probably, right? I mean, the whole plot line of Armageddon was completely fucking stupid and bullshit.
Yeah.
They put themselves in such like, you know, present physical in the moment danger for no reason.
Yeah.
What I would do, I would probably do something along the lines of nuclear weapons, right? Because these are the most powerful devices we have and never ever created. I would probably send a, you know what? Honestly, would be the best response to a asteroid. We could make here we go. I just figured something out. We can make an agreement with all the other countries in the world to launch every single nuclear weapon that we all possess into space on a direct course. Well, maybe not a direct course, but on a intercept course with the comet or the asteroid or whatever, to detonate far enough away from it, but close enough that it will nudge it out of the trajectory of the Earth. You don't need to blow the thing into pieces, because that will make more projectiles that could possibly hit the Earth. You could just make a shock wave large enough and powerful enough nearby that it could possibly just slightly nudge it out of the way.
Yeah.
So that it passes us. You know, just a slight nudge could get exponentially larger as it gets closer and closer, right? It might
even
be slight,
1 degree, you blow it off 1 degree, and it can
hundreds of millions of miles. It's got to travel more. It depends, right, how close it is too.
Yeah,
and how far ahead of time do we discover this or not? But yeah, I would do something with nuclear weapons and try and get rid of all the nuclear weapons on the planet as a twofold, right? I mean, what greater achievement could there be of not only saving the world from imminent doom, but preventing us from causing our own imminent doom, you know, at the same time.
Yeah.
Like nuclear weapons are awful creations, right? But imagine if they're able to save the world and prevent future destruction at the same time. Yeah. Pretty cool.
This is where my mind goes.
Go for it. What do you got?
I've been laughing. So which is a great idea, you know, if we could all band together, how about we send whatever, any nukes up there. If we send all those nukes, we come up with a policy where, you know, hey, we send these nukes up there and there's no more creating nukes. We have to focus our full attention on this threat to Earth. But how funny would it be that when all these nations launch their nukes and North Korea is part of it, that this thing just does not go anywhere near out of Earth to inner space? It just comes back and now it just blows up some other location somewhere else.
You mean like if the nukes don't make it and they end up
yeah, like if you had like a slow motion of like the nukes, like it's all being like, you know, televised,
what was it, Terminator at the end of Terminator, where you saw them all like hitting the earth. Yeah.
Yeah, and you just see them all getting launched, and North Korea just launches there, and it just either disintegrates or they launch the wrong fucking missile. That would be pretty funny.
Yeah, like they don't have the capability. Yeah, man. I mean, it's obviously it's utopia thinking, it's wishful thinking. That would never happen.
No, absolutely,
life, right? And even if they did come to some sort of agreement, they'd lie, they'd hide, they'd make sure some countries would use it as a chance to put themselves on a more level playing field with others, right? Because look, the United States and Russia are going to launch all of their nuclear weapons. Let's keep like 100.
Yeah,
so and now we'll be the only nuclear superpower in the world afterwards.
Yeah, and one more final question, since
Yep.
you said it's a utopian idea. If aliens invaded us, do you think then we'll band together?
Yeah, temporarily. Like if they invaded us and trying to like wipe us out or make us go extinct or take over the planet, yeah, without a doubt, we would band together to try and force them out, because at the end of the day, we're all like a common species. But as soon as they're gone, as soon as we've eliminated the threat, we'll go right back to what we were doing before, which is fighting each other.
Yeah.
I do think we would work together to get rid of
them. I think once they land here, I think like a bank in Switzerland would probably have them set up a bank account there instantly.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, you can never rule that out too. That there will be people who look to capitalize off of it and nefariously use it. Right. Yeah, that is what happened in Superman, the original Superman. Right when when what was it? What's his name? The guys from Krypton came to Earth, and then Lex Luthor made the deal with them. Like, look, you guys, I'll just keep Australia, and you guys take the whole rest of the world, right? They'll be most likely your Lex Luthor that will make a deal and try and keep Australia if aliens came. But I do think majority of the world would fight back.
Yeah, this is a great conversation. I'm glad we had it.
Yes, anytime, man, anytime. We will be doing them more often.
Yes.
All right, everybody. So thank you for listening. Me and Jimbo will be trying to do these hopefully once a week, if not every other week or so. Don't forget to go over to part 2 or part 1, whatever it is, the second half of this on the Last Slice podcast. We will put the links in the show notes below. And thanks for joining us for a Slice of Doom.
Later.